The Head of the Family. By Anton Chekhov. Anton Chekhov, 1860 to 1904, may have suffered an untimely death. But he squeezed the most out of his 44 years of life. Chekhov was a Russian physician, dramatist and author who is considered to be one of the greatest writers in history, particularly in the genre of short stories. In The Head of the Family by Anton Chekhov we have the theme of depression, failure, domestic abuse, fear and paralysis. Taken from his The Complete Short Stories collection. The story is narrated in the third person by an unnamed narrator, and from the beginning of the story the reader realizes that Chekhov may be exploring the theme of depression. Zelin, after a night of heavy drinking or gambling, wakes up depressed. It is as though he is unable to accept his failures when it comes to his drinking or gambling. So depressed is Zelin that he has to take out his grievance on his family, particularly on Fedor, his young son, who is unable to tackle or understand his father. Zelin's wife, on the other hand, is able for Zelin. She questions him to the point in which the reader feels Zelin is at pains to ignore his wife and continue criticizing Fedor, who ends up standing in the corner of the dining room. What is also interesting about the story is that Zelin feels guilty later on in the day about how he has treated Fedor. However, Fedor remains in fear of his father, most likely because he knows his father's moods can change on a whim or when drinking and gambling are involved. In reality, nothing changes for Zelin or Fedor. Things will remain the same, which may leave some reader to suggest that both characters, like the other characters in the story, are paralyzed. As head of the family, Zelin acts as a tyrant towards others. He blames them for his own shortcomings and never checks to see if he and his drinking and gambling are at fault. In reality, Zelin acts as an abusive bully towards others. Though one might suspect he is polite and pleasant to those he drinks and gambles with. The role of the female also comes into question, with Zelin wondering about the purpose of a woman. This may be significant, as Chekhov may be highlighting a common theme upon men at the time the story was written. Society was patriarchal at the time and women were meant to be seen and not heard. Yet Zelin's wife stands up for Fedor. There may be some symbolism in the story which might be important. The drinking and gambling that Zelin partakes in could symbolize that Zelin lives an immoral life, though he appears to wish for more. The soup being an example. Zelin complains about the soup just as he complains about Fedor, which would further suggest that Zelin is looking for something he considers better in life. He wishes that Fedor was more intelligent or acted differently. The cold soup serves to highlight just how unhappy Zelin is in life. Though Zelin cannot understand he is in control of his own happiness. Should he stop drinking and gambling, Zelin would be much happier. Though this is not something that Zelin can see. If anything, the cold soup mirrors the cold mood that Zelin is in. It is as though he, due to being hungover, is looking for any excuse to attack Fedor and the rest of the family. The end of the story is interesting, as Zelin attempts to do an about-turn and do the opposite to what he has previously done. As readers, and as mentioned, we know that Zelin is feeling guilty about how he treated Fedor. However, Fedor is only left confused by his father's actions. It must be difficult for a child to try and interpret their father after being scorned by him, and Fedor is no exception. One is only left thinking that Zelin's change in direction is a result of him sleeping off the alcohol he consumed the night before. It is as though he is a changed man. This may be significant, as Chekhov could be suggesting or highlighting the fact that alcohol can change a person's personality. Gone is the outraged father to the more kindly father. Zelin is acting as a father should, though the reader is left to suspect this change will not last long, and once Zelin has begun drinking again he will revert to his old ways and be abusive towards Fedor. End of the summary. Thank you.